And we're back with another episode of Before You Buy, the series where we bring you some straight up gameplay and our first impressions. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today we're talking about the new add-on expansion thing that is Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath. Now we're going to keep this one spoiler free, so don't worry about that. We'll not be spilling any beans on the Aftermath campaign, story-wise anyhow, because the story starts up immediately after the ending of Mortal Kombat 11. If we talk about anything story-wise in this game, we're going to end up spoiling that game. And it's not an old game. It's not super new or anything, but we're still going to try to keep that to a minimum. Mortal Kombat 11 turned out to be a really good fighting game, especially once NetherRealms fixed some of the issues it had at launch. There were a couple of fairly egregious problems that aren't there anymore. So it's pretty interesting to see them release a full expansion rather than the combat packs they've been putting out. Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath saw a simultaneous release on all platforms. So it's on Xbox One, PS4, PC, and Switch. You can pretty much get it anywhere. This footage was captured with a PlayStation 4 Pro, and obviously it looks great. But what does Aftermath add to the game? Well, the big one is a fully featured campaign that more or less plays as a sequel to the Mortal Kombat 11 story mode. It features 5 chapters with 6 fights each, and you get 3 new combatants in Shiva, Fujin, and even Robocop. Obviously, we're stoked about Robocop. We'll be talking more about Robocop, but hold your robo horses. All that in mind, the game got a content update along with Aftermath, adding a number of new features to the main game, including 3 new stages, Deadpool, Soul Chamber, and Retrocade, along with new stage fatalities you can perform in both these new stages, as well as some of the old ones. Last thing that they added is something called Friendships, which is an alternative to a fatality, and it's so dumb. We gotta respect the time and effort put into these. They could have really been basic and outright dumb, but most of them have new props, and some of them are just so goofy, elaborate, and just hilarious. There's no other reason they would have put them here, to be completely honest. When I say they're dumb, I obviously don't mean they suck. I mean dumb in the best way. Obviously, the main draw to buying this kind of expansion is the story mode, and I'll tell you right off, production value, expect no deviations from the quality of the standard game. Some people might have worried they'd half-ass it because it's a DLC. That is not the case. This, like I said, functions a lot as a sequel to Mortal Kombat 11. It's not just people standing around. There's actually tons of stuff going on. The actual chapter count is cut down from 12 to 5, but it still feels pretty substantial. It's about 2 or 3 hours, and I mean, it's a fighting game. That's a good story mode for a fighting game. I'm going to try to give you some insight as to the story without getting too specific. Gotta be vague here because, like I said, spoilers at the beginning of the video, but it mainly follows Shang Tsung, the boss from the original Mortal Kombat, and basically the perpetual sneaky bad guy of the series. He's trying to save the Earth Realm. You know, Earth, but it's Earth Realm. Why? I don't know. It's Mortal Kombat. Who cares? From a mistake that was made by the heroes at the end of Mortal Kombat 11. I'm not going to give any specifics on exactly what that is, but if you played any story modes from the recent NetherRealms games like Mortal Kombat 9, 10, or the Injustice games, that's what you're getting here. Basically, movies interspersed with fights. They look great, they're usually surprisingly fun and even funny, and they're generally pretty short. I mean all of this positively, and that is generally the case here. The focus is more on the new characters, so if you wanted to spend more time with Johnny Cage, you might be a little disappointed, but honestly, I think that it's good to spotlight some of the lesser known and less featured characters. Speaking of, let's talk about the new characters in a little more depth. I kind of think that with this add-on, there's going to be 2 camps of people. People who get it for the story and people who get it for the 3 new fighters. It's going to be a personal taste thing, so have at it. When we first found out who the new characters were, we were a little disappointed, to be completely open. Yeah, Robocop is awesome. We were stoked about that. But Shiva and Fujin, not exactly fan favorites. But fortunately, these turned out to be pretty interesting additions to Mortal Kombat 11. They work really well with the platform, so to speak. Shiva's primarily close range. She has a Wonder Woman shield. But for those expecting a command grab heavy grappler style character, no, that's not what Shiva is. She doesn't really play like Bane or Solomon Grundy from Injustice. She's pretty much Mortal Kombat 3 Shiva, which you'll remember from way back in the day if you're anything like me. old. Most of her grabs are pretty combo based, which is a little weird, but she does have a more neutral, heavy variation if that's what you're more into. She's kind of the least flashy of the new characters. I'm not going to say she's not a fun addition. I actually think she's a very good addition, but she's not going to blow your mind. Fujin, however, the god of wind, way back in Mortal Kombat 4, when they were like, oh, we just want mainly new fighters. But they made that decision after they had pretty much made the game with all of the original characters, so just changed it around. And instead of lightning, he had wind. Yeah, Mortal Kombat 4 was a little weird. This time, though, they got to have a little more fun with him. In contrast to Shiva, Fujin is a really fast character with a ton of tools at his disposal. He's, I guess mix-up heavy would be the best way to put it. He's got a pretty damn good 50-50 move that basically forces your opponent to guess where they're going to block. And it's pretty nasty if they guess wrong, let's just say. The reason, of course, is that projectiles either fire forward or bounce at an angle on the floor or ceiling. It's fun. I mean, he's the god of wind. He's got a lot of air moves, obviously. And his abilities are more or less based around agility, moving around fast, etc. He's all about attacking from every angle, like, oh, I don't know, the wind, leaving your opponent frustrated and overwhelmed. Out of the new fighters, Fujin's probably the most impressive in motion because, I mean, just seeing him move it's fun. It's cool. Now, the big one, of course, the one that got everyone's attention, Robocop. Why? Who knows? Who cares? Why not? He's just this amusingly ridiculous addition that goes great with Terminator. Like, it's a fun detail that he's actually played by the same guy from the movie in this game, Peter Weller. And in general, there's just tons of Easter eggs and references just built right into him. If you are a fan of the 1987 Verhoeven movie, then there's going to be a lot that you'll like about this character specifically. Now, he plays pretty much exactly how you'd expect. He's all about long-range attacks. He's fairly slow. I mean, again, as you'd expect. And he doesn't really have a lot of getaway attacks, like a teleport or a dash or anything. So if you get caught in a corner, it can get pretty ugly pretty fast. Plus, you don't get a simple crouch shoot, then stand shoot attack. His mind's travel in an arch. The rifle has a slow startup. Flamethrower can leave you open if you don't take the proper precautions, so to speak. And, you know, Robocop just doesn't really have the tools of an all-arounder. So if you're casual, it might not be the one that you get into. But he's not completely helpless or anything either. He's got a pretty awesome shield that blocks projectiles and counters close-range attacks, and an actual command grab that lets you carry your opponent around with you, which is cool. Actually, playing as Robocop is a little trickier than we were expecting, to be completely honest. But anyone that lets you shoot your opponent in the dick, then arrest them at the end of the match is okay with us. I mean, that's kind of the payoff. He's Robocop. He's awesome. All in all, we like the new characters, but of course, it's kind of up to you to decide if they're worth it. And I'm not really at a point with any of them to say that they're competitively viable or not. Gonna say I'm probably leaning on Fujin to be the one that turns out to be competitively viable, if indeed one of them does. But again, it's gonna be a while, I think, before we can really say one way or the other. And who knows, somebody may come up with an insane Robocop fight style that allows for the spectacle of Robocop to truly be what it should be. So at the end of the day, is it worth it to get this add-on? I'm going to say if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, then yeah, obviously. The new story content is as high quality as the main game. It does a good job featuring some characters in the franchise from a new perspective, and the 3 new fighters are all fun and different enough to stand out. And even though he's a little clunky, Robocop is pretty much the highlight from that. So I think some people might have a little trouble stomaching the $39.99 price on top of the base game. I mean, that's a big ask for a few hours of story and 3 characters, even if it's all high quality. Basically, it's good, but this is a premium expansion. If you saw the trailer and you got really hyped, then get it. But if you only have a passing interest in the stuff that you saw, it's not worth $40. For me, it was. I enjoyed it. I'm probably going to continue enjoying it. If you end up not getting that stuff, keep in mind the new stages and friendships are free anyway. So yeah, if that's all you wanted, it's free real estate. So I think you know my opinion at this point. Did you play Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath? What did you think? Do you agree? Do you think it's a good one for Mortal Kombat fans? Or not? Leave us a comment. Let us know. If you like this video, Please click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. The best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe. Don't forget to enable all notifications. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter @FalconTheHero. And we will see you next time right here on gameranx.